The screen door of the Bluebonnet Diner slammed shut behind Olivia Harper with a metallic clang that echoed like a gunshot in the empty dining room. She froze, her boots rooted to the salt-streaked linoleum, as the voices from the kitchen, raw, unfiltered, laced with venom, slammed into her chest harder than any West Texas dust storm. "That old bat's diner? It's a joke," spat a voice she recognized as Tommy's, the fry cook with the perpetual scowl. "Built on her dead daddy's ghost and a prayer. Now it's just ghosts and grease traps." Olivia's heart jackhammered, her undercover alias Livy the Drifter shattering like cheap diner china. Because those weren't just words. They were knives carving up the empire she'd clawed from the red dirt of Midland, Texas. She'd come back incognito after 6 months away, trading her tailored blazers for faded Levi's and a Stetson pulled low, to see if the place she'd poured her soul into still breathed. The Bluebonnet wasn't just bricks and sizzling skillets. It was her rebellion against a family legacy of oil rigs and empty promises, a haven stitched from late-night shifts and stolen dreams under star-scorched skies. But now, as the fluorescent buzz overhead hummed like a swarm of regrets, Olivia wondered if she built a monument or a mausoleum. The betrayal stung deeper because it came from them, the family she'd chosen, the ones who'd sworn loyalty over bottomless coffee and pecan pie. And then, cutting through the laughter like a coyote's howl, came Alyssa's voice. Soft, melodic, but edged with something sharper than Olivia remembered. "She's probably off sipping martinis in Austin, laughing at us scraping by on her crumbs. God, if she knew how we really felt." Olivia's breath caught, a vice squeezing her ribs. Alyssa Ruiz, the woman who'd once traced constellations on her collarbone in the cab of a rusted pickup, whispering promises that tasted like mesquite smoke and forever. They'd met 3 years back, when Alyssa was fresh off the bus from El Paso, all fire and quiet fury, applying for a waitress gig with eyes that held the weight of border-crossing stories Olivia never pried into. What started as stolen shifts covering for each other bloomed into moonlit drives down Highway 20, hands intertwined over the gearshift, sharing secrets in the glow of dashboard lights. Alyssa, with her laugh like wind chimes in a gale and her way of making Olivia feel seen, not just as the boss but as the woman who'd lost her father to the bottle and her mother to silence. They'd kept it hidden, of course. Small-town Texas didn't hand out parades for two women loving fierce and free. But Olivia had dreamed of more. Coming out together, turning the diner into their shared legacy. 6 months ago the cracks showed. Expansion talks soured when investors balked at the queer angle. As one put it in a boardroom reeking of cigar smoke. Olivia, gutted, went undercover to gauge the staff's pulse without the boss's shadow looming. She became Livy, a wanderer with a fabricated backstory of rodeo washouts and bad breaks, bunking in the diner's back apartment. It was supposed to be temporary, a way to rebuild trust from the ground up. But Alyssa? She'd pulled away, citing space after Olivia's late nights blurred into absences. Now, hearing her echo Tommy's barbs, Olivia felt the ground tilt. Was this resentment or something uglier, resentment festering into contempt? She backed toward the door, pulse thundering, but the knob slipped in her sweat-slick palm. The kitchen chatter died. Footsteps, boots on tile. Then the swing door creaked open. Tommy emerged first, wiping grease from his hands on a rag, his mustache twitching like a cornered rattler's tail. "Livy? Thought you clocked out hours ago. You look like you seen a ghost." Olivia forced a grin, the kind that hid oilfield grit, but it cracked at the edges. "Just grabbing my jacket. Long night ahead." Her eyes flicked past him to Alyssa, who hovered in the doorway, arms crossed over her faded bluebonnet tee, the one Olivia had gifted her on their first anniversary. Alyssa's hazel gaze met hers, wary, then widening with something like guilt. Or was it recognition? No, Livy was a stranger, a temp with calloused hands and no history. But in that split second, Olivia saw the flicker. The woman who knew the scar on her jaw from a bar fight in Lubbock, the one who'd kissed it better under a harvest moon. "Everything all right?" Alyssa asked, her voice a threadbare veil over the earlier venom. She stepped closer, the scent of vanilla and fryer oil wrapping around Olivia like a half-remembered embrace. Up close, the lines around Alyssa's eyes spoke of sleepless shifts, her ponytail frayed from too many doublebacks. 28 to Olivia's 45, but the years between them had always melted in the quiet hours, when Alyssa would curl against her side and murmur about opening her own taqueria someday. Dreams big as the Chihuahuan Desert. Yeah, Olivia lied, throat dry as alkali flats. Just the wind howling out there. Reminds me of home. Home. The word hung loaded. Tommy snorted, retreating to the kitchen with a mutter about damn northerlies, leaving them alone in the half-lit dining room. The jukebox in the corner wheezed to life. Some Patsy Cline croon about crazy arms, and Olivia's resolve frayed. Alyssa tilted her head, studying her with that piercing look that always unraveled Olivia's defenses. You know, Livy, you remind me of someone. The way you carry yourself. Like you've got the weight of the world on those shoulders, but you don't let it show. She reached out, fingers brushing Olivia's arm. A ghost of their old touch. Electricity sparked, unwelcome and raw. Olivia pulled back, heart splintering. How could she mock the diner, their diner, and still ignite this fire? I should go, Olivia said, voice rough. She turned, but Alyssa's hand caught her wrist, gentle yet insistent. Wait. There's a staff meeting tomorrow. Boss is coming back. Olivia Harper herself. Rumor has it she's some hotshot now, but we all know the truth. Place is falling apart. Alyssa's lips quirked, but her eyes searched, probing. You sticking around for the fireworks? Olivia's stomach twisted. Fireworks. More like a bonfire of her illusions. Wouldn't miss it, she whispered, slipping free and out into the night, where the Permian Basin stars wheeled overhead like indifferent witnesses. She climbed into her battered Ford, the engine coughing to life, and drove aimless loops through Midland's sodium-lit streets, replaying the voices until they bled into one accusatory chorus. Betrayal wasn't just the words. It was the realization that Alyssa, her anchor in the storm, might have cut the rope. Dawn broke bloody over the oil pumps, painting the diner in hues of rust and regret. Olivia, shedding Livy like a snakeskin, arrived at the Bluebonnet in her own truck, the one with the dent from that night Alyssa had dared her to race the sunset. She parked out back, steeling herself in the rear view. Silver streaks in her auburn bob, green eyes shadowed by lack of sleep, the jaw scar a pale reminder of battles won. 45 felt ancient tonight. Every line earned from building this place from her father's derelict roadside stand into a chain stretching to Odessa. The Bluebonnet wasn't profit margins. It was therapy for truckers nursing divorces, a neutral ground for ranchers hashing feuds, and for Olivia, a canvas for the love she couldn't shout from the rooftops. The staff meeting was her litmus test. No more hiding. She'd reveal herself, hear the unvarnished truth, and decide if the dream was salvageable, or if she'd torch it all and walk away. Inside, the air hummed with tension. Waitstaff clustered around the counter, Tommy flipping hash browns with aggressive scrapes, and Alyssa at the coffee station, pouring mugs with mechanical grace. When Olivia pushed through the front door, the room stilled. Forks clattered. Conversations evaporated. Ladies and gents, she said, voice steady as rebar. Olivia Harper. Your boss. Missed me. A smattering of awkward claps. Then silence thick as sorghum syrup. She scanned faces. Wary smiles from the vets, outright glares from the newbies. And Alyssa, frozen mid-pour, coffee splashing dark across the formica, her hazel eyes locking on Olivia's with a storm's fury. Recognition dawned slow, then shattered. The pieces of Livy reassembling into the woman she'd loved, then lost. You, Alyssa breathed, mug shattering on the tile. Shards skittered like escaped secrets. All this time, Livy was you. The accusation hung, laced with hurt that mirrored Olivia's own. The staff shifted, whispers rippling like heat haze. Olivia nodded, throat tight. I needed to see it straight. Without the title. Without the pedestal. She gestured to the room. The scuffed booths patched with duct tape, the menu boards curling at edges, the flickering neon that she'd hand-painted herself. This place is my heart. Built it for us, for community, for second chances. But I hear it's become a punchline. Tommy barked a laugh too loud. Damn right. You vanish for months. Leave us holding the bag with leaky roofs and suppliers ghosting. We bust our asses while you're playing house in the city. Murmurs swelled. Nods from the busboys, crossed arms from the cooks. Olivia's chest ached. This was the undercurrent she'd feared, amplified by her absence. But it was Alyssa's silence that gutted her. She stepped forward, glass crunching under her sneakers, face a mask of betrayal. You lied to me. To all of us. I poured everything into this place, nights wondering if you even cared. And you were right here watching? Testing us like lab rats. Tears brimmed, but she blinked them back, chin lifting in that defiant tilt Olivia adored and dreaded. Those talks we had, everything. Was it all part of your little experiment? The room gasped softly. No one knew about them, not fully. Olivia's secret had been their shield. But now it cracked open, spilling vulnerability into the harsh morning light. No, she said fiercely, closing the gap until vanilla and coffee enveloped her. Alyssa, it was real. Every word, every touch. I pulled away because I was scared of dragging you into my mess. The investors, the rumors. I thought space would protect us. Alyssa laughed, bitter as burnt toast. Protect? You broke us. And now you waltz back expecting applause. She waved at the staff who watched rapt, the air electric with unspoken loyalties. They mock it because it hurts, because we love this diner even if it's flawed. But you? You mocked us by hiding. The words landed like a sandblasted gale, stripping Olivia bare. She saw it then. The toll of her choices. Not just on the business, but on the woman who'd mended her fractures. Conflict surged, defend her vision or admit the rot. Climax brewed as Tommy slammed a spatula down. She's right, boss. We're done scraping. Either fix this or we're out. Olivia's mind raced. Betrayal from within, but rooted in her own deceptions. The diner teetered, a microcosm of their love. Gritty, resilient, teeming with unspoken aches. She met Alyssa's gaze, seeing the girl who'd danced with her in the empty lot to Merle Haggard on a boombox. Dreams unfurling like bluebonnets in spring. Then let's fix it, Olivia said, voice breaking. Together. No more secrets. But Alyssa shook her head, stepping back into the kitchen's shadow. Too late for together, Liv. You built this alone. Tear it down the same way. The door swung shut behind her, leaving Olivia adrift in the wreckage of her own making, the staff dispersing like smoke from a dying fire. Outside, the West Texas wind howled, carrying the faint scent of rain. A promise or a warning. The afternoon dragged like a hungover cattle drive, the bluebonnet's bell tinkling sporadically with locals who sensed the undercurrent but ordered their usual, chili cheese fries and black coffee, without prying. Olivia retreated to her office, a cramped nook off the kitchen that smelled of ledger ink and regret, where faded Polaroids taped to the wall chronicled the diner's evolution. Opening day with her father grinning gap-toothed, staff picnics under cottonwoods, Alyssa blowing out candles on a tres leches cake for her 26th. Olivia traced one photo, her arms slung casual around Alyssa's waist, both laughing at some forgotten joke, and felt the humanistic weight of it all. This wasn't just a business. It was a tapestry of lives intertwined, threads fraying under neglect. She'd lied to herself about the undercover stint being noble. Truth was, fear had driven her. Fear of failing the legacy. Fear that loving Alyssa openly would invite Midland's judgmental stares. Fear that expansion meant selling her soul to faceless suits. Now, with the staff's mockery echoing, that fear crystallized into isolation. Calls to her assistant in Austin went unanswered. Voicemail a cold buffer. And by dusk, Olivia emerged, sleeves rolled, determined to mend what she could. The dining room buzzed tentative. Tommy manned the grill with grudging efficiency, the waitresses exchanged loaded glances, but Alyssa was MIA, her shift covered by a wide-eyed newbie. Where is she? Olivia asked Maria, the veteran server with silver braids and a no-nonsense squint. Home. Said she needed air. Maria's eyes softened. Give her time, Mija. Alyssa's got a heart bigger than the Llano Estacado, but it's bruised. Olivia nodded, swallowing the urge to chase her down. Instead, she donned an apron, irony biting as she became Livy again, sans deception, and cleared tables, the rhythm grounding her. A rancher in booth 5 grumbled about rising feed costs. She slid him extra cornbread, listening as he unspooled worries about drought and bank loans. Human moments, these, the diner's true currency. By closing, sweat-soaked and bone-tired, Olivia felt a spark. Perhaps redemption lay in the small acts, not grand gestures. But fate, that capricious West Texas trickster, had other plans. As she locked the front, headlights sliced the lot. A dusty Chevy Impala, Alyssa's ride from her El Paso days. The engine idled, exhaust curling like unanswered questions. Olivia approached slow, heart a wild Mustang. Alyssa leaned against the hood, arms folded, face illuminated by the dash glow. exhaustion carving hollows under her cheekbones, but fire still banked in those hazel depths. Couldn't stay away? Olivia ventured, stopping a respectful arm's length. Alyssa huffed a laugh devoid of mirth. Forgot my keys. And maybe needed to see if you bolt again. She pushed off the car, circling like a boxer sizing up an opponent. The air crackled, thick with unsaid confessions. Why, Olivia? Why hide from me? From us? The question cracked Olivia open. She leaned beside her, the Impala's warmth seeping through denim. Because loving you terrified me. This town. It's got rules written in stone and scripture. My dad built the original stand to escape his own demons, drank himself under anyway. I swore I'd make it different, stable, a place where folks like us could breathe. But when the offers came with their strings about image, I panicked. Thought going undercover would let me earn back what I'd lost. Prove I was still one of you. Alyssa's fingers drummed the hood, a staccato of doubt. One of us? You were always the boss, the one with the plan. I fell for the woman who stayed late to teach me recipes, who held me when my abuela passed. Not this ghost playing pretend. Tears welled again, spilling hot tracks down her cheeks. Those months I thought you'd moved on. Dated some city girl. It broke me, Liv. Made me lash out. Join the griping to feel less alone in the hurt. Olivia's hand hovered, then settled over Alyssa's, calluses meeting in a familiar topography. I never moved on. Every night in that back room I ached for you. The mockery. It gutted me because I heard your voice in it. But now I see I built walls, not bridges. Betrayed you by doubting we'd weather the storm together. Silence stretched, broken only by distant semis rumbling I-20. Alyssa turned, their faces inches apart, breaths mingling like shared secrets. Weather it? Or let it bury us? Her voice trembled, vulnerability raw. In that moment romance flickered. Not the fevered passion of stolen nights, but a deeper current, humanistic and aching. Two women scarred by circumstance, reaching across the chasm. Olivia cupped Alyssa's cheek, thumb brushing a tear. Bury the diner if we must. But not us. Not if you'll fight with me. Lips met tentative, a brush of salt and longing. Then deepened, the kiss a reclamation. Alyssa's hands fisted in Olivia's flannel, pulling her close, the Impala creaking under their weight. It wasn't fireworks. It was embers reigniting, warm against the desert chill. They broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed, the world narrowing to this possibility amid ruins. But drama loomed, as it does in tales of the heart. Headlights pierced the intimacy. Tommy's truck, pulling in unannounced. He killed the engine, door slamming like judgment. Boss. Alyssa. Didn't mean to interrupt the whatever this is. His eyes narrowed, mustache bristling. But we gotta talk. The crew's pissed, talking walkouts. And that investor call tomorrow? They're pulling funding unless you toe the line on traditional values. Alyssa's hand slipped from Olivia's, resolve hardening. Traditional? Code for erasing us. She glanced at Olivia, conflict etching her features. You gonna cave? The question hung a precipice. Olivia's mind whirled. Save the diner by compromising her truth? Or risk it all for authenticity? Betrayal echoed. Not just staffs but the systems, forcing choices between love and livelihood. No, she said finally, voice steel. We'll find another way. Crowdfund, go local. Make it ours, unapologetically. Tommy snorted. Noble but naive. Half the town'll boycott. He paused, gaze softening fractionally. But hell if you're in. Count me. For Alyssa. She's the glue here. Alyssa met his eyes, a nod of fragile alliance. The three stood in the lot, silhouetted against the star-pricked sky, a tableau of uneasy truce. As Tommy drove off, Alyssa lingered. This doesn't fix everything. Trust's a slow mend. I know, Olivia whispered. But it's a start. They parted with a chaste hand squeeze, Alyssa sliding into her car, taillights fading into the basin's black. Olivia watched until gone, then turned back to the diner, dark now but not defeated. Inside she drafted emails to loyal suppliers, community leaders, even a queer-owned fund in Austin. Hope stirred, humanistic in its quiet insistence. People over profits, love over fear. Yet sleep evaded her that night. The back apartment's lumpy couch a bed of thorns. Dreams tangled. Mocking voices morphing into investor sneers, Alyssa's laugh twisting to sobs. Dawn found her pacing, phone buzzing with texts, staff venting, Alyssa silent. The investor meeting loomed at noon, virtual from her office, a boardroom of East Coast accents demanding concessions. Olivia prepped her pitch, not capitulation, but defiance wrapped in data. Loyalty metrics from undercover days. Testimonials from regulars who'd found solace in the booths. As the call connected, faces pixelated on screen. Suits with Rolex glints, the lead, Mr. Hargrove, silver-haired and smug, leaning forward. Ms. Harper, charming outpost you've got. But viability hinges on broadening appeal. Ditch the niche elements. Family values sell. Olivia's grip tightened on her mug. Niche? You mean the soul, the stories, the diversity that packs seats nightly. She shared screens. Photos of packed holidays, revenue spikes from events celebrating local artists, including queer poets. This isn't a faceless franchise. It's Midland's heartbeat. Expand on our terms or walk. Murmurs rippled. Hargrove's smile thinned. Bold. But without us. Without you we thrive local. The line went taut. Then Hargrove chuckled, conceding a trial period. Elation surged, but it soured quick. A knock at the office door. Alyssa, disheveled, eyes red-rimmed. Tommy just quit. Said the risk's too high. And I heard the call. Proud of you. But her voice cracked. But what if it's not enough? What if we lose everything? Olivia rose, pulling her into an embrace. Bodies fitting like puzzle edges worn smooth. Then we rebuild. Side by side. The hug lingered, emotional undercurrents swirling. Forgiveness tentative, romance rekindling in whispers against hair. Outside thunder grumbled. Rare rain scenting the air. A baptism for parched earth. But climax crested that evening. Staff trickling in for an impromptu huddle. Half stayed, half gone. Betrayals multiplying like tumbleweeds. Maria spoke first. We've bled for this place. But loyalty's two-way. Nods rippled. Alyssa, at Olivia's side, squeezed her hand under the table. Olivia's fighting clean. Who's with us? A chorus rose, tentative then fierce. Not unanimous but enough. As they dispersed into the night, rain pattering the tin roof, Olivia and Alyssa lingered, sharing a booth over cooling pie. Humanity's in the mess, Olivia said. The forgiveness, the grit. Alyssa smiled, genuine at last. And the love that sticks through it. Their fingers laced, a vow unspoken, as lightning forked the sky. Drama yielding to Dawn's promise. Weeks blurred into a gritty ballet of revival. Olivia bartered with ranchers for fresh beef at cut rates. Alyssa spearheaded a social media push tagging Bluebonnet Pride. Subtle nods to their story woven into posts of sizzling plates and sunset views. The diner pulsed anew. Booths filling with curious locals drawn by whispers of authenticity over assimilation. Revenue ticked up, not meteorically, but steady as a heartbeat. Humanistic proof that vulnerability invited connection. Olivia caught glimpses of Alyssa in motion, laughing with a table of oil workers, her ponytail swinging like a metronome of resilience, and felt the old ache soften into gratitude. Yet conflict simmered beneath, betrayal's aftershocks. Tommy's exit left a void at the grill, filled by a wiry kid from Odessa with tattooed knuckles and a quiet story of his own. Coming out to a family that chose silence over shunning. This place feels safe, he told Olivia one shift, flipping burgers with precision. Like it sees you. She nodded, throat-tight validation she'd craved now mirrored back. Alyssa, though, wrestled private demons. Late one night, as Olivia tallied receipts, she found her in the alley, chain-smoking menthols against the brick wall, rain from earlier pooling at her boots. Can't sleep? Olivia asked, sliding down beside her, shoulders brushing. Alyssa exhaled smoke in a dragon's sigh. Dreams. Of leaving. Of packing the Impala and heading west like I always talked. No strings, just horizon. She flicked the butt into a puddle, sparks dying quick. But then I wake up missing you. Hating you for making it hurt so good. Olivia's heart clenched, romance's double-edged blade. Hate me if it helps. But stay. Not for the diner, for us. I want mornings with your coffee breath. Evenings arguing over playlists. She paused, voice dropping. I love you, Alyssa. Fierce as a haboob, steady as the caprock. Alyssa's head fell to Olivia's shoulder. A sob muffled in flannel. I love you too. But it's scary being the face of this. What if they come for us? Sign slurs worse. The fear was real, etched in Texas lore. Headlines of protests at queer events, whispers in pews on Sundays. Olivia pulled her closer. The alley's damp chill no match for shared warmth. Then we stand. Together. Human first, flawed, fighting but free. Dawn brought a test. A viral post from a departed staffer, Tommy's doing, twisting their revival into woke overreach. Complete with doctored photos implying debauchery. Comments flooded, support laced with vitriol, shares spiking like oil prices. The diner doors stayed open, but glances from patrons sharpened, a undercurrent of judgment. Olivia called in all hands. Staff circled in the dining room, faces a mosaic of resolve and nerves. This noise? It's fear talking. Ours or theirs? She met eyes around the room. We're not changing. We're amplifying. Open mic nights for local voices, pride potlucks in the lot. Who we are makes us strong. Murmurs built to cheers, Alyssa rising last. For the bluebonnet. For each other. Her hand found Olivia's, public now, a statement in flesh and bone. The room erupted, hugs exchanged, plans scribbled on napkins. Betrayal's sting faded, transmuted to solidarity. Climax crested that Saturday. The first event, a sunset potluck under strung lights, picnic tables groaning with tamales, brisket, and Olivia's lopsided cobbler. Families mingled with activists bussed from Austin. Kids chasing fireflies while elders swapped yarns. Alyssa emceed, voice carrying over the crowd. This ain't just food, it's family, forged in the fire of who we are. Laughter swelled as a poet recited verses of border loves. Then a fiddler struck up, Amarillo by morning. Olivia watched from the porch, chest full, until Alyssa pulled her into the throng. They danced, awkward, joyful, boots scuffing gravel, bodies swaying to the rhythm of reclaimed space. A heckler shouted from the lot's edge. Sodomites! But voices drowned him. Cheers, claps, a chorus of defiance. Security, 2 burly regulars, escorted him off, no fists, just firm words. The night endured, stars winking approval. Afterward, as cleanup wound down, Olivia and Alyssa climbed to the diner's flat roof, blankets bundled against the cooling breeze. The basin sprawled below, oil derricks nodding like sentinels. We did it, Olivia murmured, head on Alyssa's lap. Alyssa stroked silver-streaked hair. Not done. But closer. Emotion crested. Tears for losses, laughter for wins. You built more than a diner, Liv. A home. Romance bloomed quiet. Kisses like rainfall, hands mapping familiar paths with renewed wonder. No grand biopic sweep but the humanistic core. Love as verb, messy and mending. Months later, the Bluebonnet thrived. Second location in Odessa. Funded by community bonds. Tommy returned sheepish, apron in hand. Forgiveness granted over coffee. Olivia and Alyssa? They moved slow. Shared apartment above the diner. Rings exchanged in a private ceremony under Bluebonnet fields. Vowing not perfection but perseverance. One evening as rain sheeted the windows, miracle in drought, Olivia traced Alyssa's palm. Think we'll make it? Alyssa's smile radiant as sunrise. In this crazy beautiful mess? Damn right. They laughed, entwined, the diner humming below. A beacon in West Texas vastness, proof that from betrayal's ashes, something enduring rises. Hearts mended, not flawless but whole.